So I just woke up and I had one of the craziest dreams I've had in a while. So there's this guy. He has a beard and like a gray shirt similar to this. Brown hair.
Why were key items like ice axes missing? What caused the
Like I was saying, I had this dream. It's the craziest I ever had. This guy had a beard, brown hair, but the beard was all curly, slightly gray, a gray shirt like this, and like some sort of dark colored jeans. And he's like, well, I need to find a job. And so his friend's like, oh, I got you. And his friend's called to this random dress up place, similar to a pony princess, but you just kind of go there and dress up as like one of the male Disney, Pixar, or whatever characters. So I guess a party prince would be a good name. And when his friend says, hey, I found you a job, and the guy's like, oh, what is it? He's like, well, you gotta go to this party and dress up as Snoopy. It's a children's party. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's so lovely. And he's like, I'll totally do that. So what he does is he's like trying to think of a way to get out of it. And then he's like, oh crap, my daughter's still at school. So he drives around town trying to find his daughter because she wasn't at school. He cannot find her. And then he comes across his house and there's like this weird scene going on. He's kind of tearing up her driveway with the way he's driving. And there's a cop on her front porch and she's looking out at him. And it's just weird. They're kind of staring. And the cop goes to chase him, so he backs out the driveway and then goes back onto the main road. He's kind of driving crazy through the back roads, not really caring where he's going. He's just looking for his daughter. And he almost hit a couple of people a couple of times, but he just kept going. He's on the main highway now. And as he's driving by, he's like, well, I'm going to stop at this gas station because I need gas now because I almost depleted my fuel. And then when he goes in the store, he sees his daughter. He's like, where were you? And she's like, oh yeah, well, I kind of broke my instrument case, so I thought I could find something to patch it up here. He's like, how did you get here? And she doesn't answer, she just smiles. And then she fades away. And then this guy, he's like, that's weird. I must be imagining things. Like, that cannot be my daughter, because my daughter doesn't just disappear like that. And so he gets his gas and he goes. And when he's driving, there's this person yelling out this van, like, hey, you need to get to your job. You're running late. And at first, we don't really get to see the van. It's just like the front of it, like kind of purple. You don't see no design, but he's like, how does he know I need to go somewhere? And so he's like, okay, and then he drives. And then he's pretty much doing circles, and he comes across the van again, and the same thing happens. He does some more loops because he's still looking for his daughter. Like, he did not believe at the store that was his daughter because she disappeared. So when he comes around and does another loop, that van, this guy, he goes by a school every time. So he stopped by the school this time. And the van man gets out and says, hey, you know your job's over there, right? Like, that's like 27 miles away or something. You should have been there by now. And the man's like, how do you know that? He doesn't say that, but he's thinking that, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll go to my job. I just got a little law. And the van man's like, okay. And the van man gets into his car, and he drives off. And we see on the van, children's party entertainment with, like, some sort of circus design on it. So the man gets in his car or truck. I don't know. The vehicle switched in the middle of the dream. It was a car, and then it turned into a truck after the gas station. So, I guess I can interpret that he stole something. I don't know. But back on track. The guy, he's like, okay, maybe I should actually try to go. So he follows the van, and the man's like, yeah, you just go down there, and this and that. Because at this point, they're on call now, because it turns out that's the guy he's looking for now. That's the guy he's working for now. So he goes down that road. The bandman's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go now since you know where you're at. You have all your stuff. So the bandman leaves because he done met the people, but he kept getting calls that our guy with the beard wasn't there yet. So when he gets there, he sees this trailer house decked out with Disney in this little woody patch, I guess you could say, like almost woods near, like around the house. It's decked out in Disney, and then there's one spot where there's a pond, and there's one of the Disney figures, a little fold-up one standing there by the pond, and there's like a table with cake and stuff. There's no children yet, but the woman comes out and says, hey, so you're doing Charlie Brown, right? And the man's like, actually, I came here to tell you that I can't do this party. Like, I cannot do this party. And then the woman's like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't do this party? I hired you. And so he's like, well, I can't. Something came up, this and that. But I cannot do this party. The woman's like, you're gonna do this party. You're gonna do this. In fact, I'll pay you extra. You're gonna do this party. And her son comes out and he's like, Mom, is that gonna be Charlie Brown? And she's like, yes, sweetie. And the guy's like, well, crap, now I got to do it. And so he's like, okay. Well, I don't have my costume on me, so I gotta go home or go to the employers and get it. I gotta go home and get my costume. So the woman's like, alright. And she's like, Jimmy, come on. That's the name of her son. Her son's wearing like this white shirt, these blue jean pants, and like little kid Lightning McQueen shoes or something like that. That's what it looks like to me, at least. He has like dirty blonde, kind of wavy-ish hair, but short. And so he looks in the beard man's vehicle and then gets in. The beard man doesn't know it. He's like, alright, well, I'm just not gonna come back. And so he drives off to his house. And when he does, he goes and parks. The kid in his vehicle gets out without him realizing it. The kid, his brother, which we did not see before, appears in the car. It turns out his brother was dead and has been haunting this random guy's place this whole time. And we don't know why, but he has. And so this little boy, he's tagging along this guy, and this guy's like starting to realize someone's behind me. So he kind of looks around like, And then he realizes, oh my god, this woman's kid followed me, so now I gotta go back. And he's just like, oh my god. Like, he is so done. So he's like, what are you doing here? And the kid's like, I just wanted to tag along. So he lets the kid tag along. They go in through the fence. Chain link fence. His house is like a little small white house. Like one of those higher triangle roofs. It's white with like a light brown trim on the outside. Has like a lifted porch. I don't know how to say it, but there's like a porch and then the door's up there and some stairs. And like you're able to go under that. Well, the man's like, here, you stay outside. So the man goes inside and child, thinking it'd be fun, goes under the stairs. Well, his brother that's haunting the play, he's holding a bloody knife and he's under there. And he's like, you should not be here. You should not be here. And the little boy's like, what do you mean? Like, this man isn't bad. And he's like, and the little boy's like, you should not be here. And then the man comes back out and he's looking for this little boy, like, where the heck did he go? And so the brother's with the knife, he's just like, you should not be here. And then he comes back out. And then the grown man goes unconscious. The little boy's freaking out, like, oh my god, what just happened? Who is that? Because he does not know that's his brother, because that was before he was born and all that stuff. So he's just freaking out. And so when the grown man awakens, he's lost it. And the little ghost boy with the blade and knife is like turning to this little boy and he's like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that you should have not come here. I'm going to show you. And this grown man, he's out of it. Well, he gets in his vehicle and drives off. And when he comes back, he has another kid. And this is going to get a little bit gory, a little bit crazy. But when he comes back, the kid they just got, they tie them up, set him on the porch. The little boy with the knife, that's the ghost. The brother with the knife. He's like, I'll keep that one quiet. You do what I said to the little boy. So the man's like, all right. The man goes over to the little boy, and then the ghost boy goes over to the one they just kidnapped. The man pulls out a knife, holds the boy's arm out, cuts it off, and then does the same with the other one. This little boy's screaming and crying. So what does the man do? Slam the head against the porch. Knock him out. Meanwhile, little ghost boy with the knife, he's like, hey kid, you don't got nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. I'm gonna get you out of here. And so the little girl they just kidnapped is like, okay, I believe you. Because this is a little boy she hasn't seen before. She doesn't know he's connected to all this. So inside the house, the ghost boy goes in there, and then the man goes in there. This little girl's freaking out, like, oh my god, this little boy's gonna get hurt. No, the ghost boy's gonna get hurt. The ghost boy's gonna get hurt. Because he went in there with the man. They cook those arms. Take him out. They go out that building together. Go over to that little girl they kidnapped. And feed her those arms. Yeah. And by this point, it's like pitch black. Because it was in the evening that they went over to the party house. And this girl's terrified. She's like, oh my god, this is so disgusting. Because obviously, you don't want to eat people's arms. But the little boy who got his arms cut off, he's long gone. Long gone. Bled out. So his mother suddenly appears at the fence gate. And there's a whole bunch of kids, including the man with the beard's daughter. And this woman's holding up his daughter's dead body, because she had found it earlier on a little premise when she followed him to his house to make sure he would come back. Then she left, came back with a bunch of kids from the school, not the school, the birthday party. And that's when she found the girl's body. So she goes over like, what the hell is this? And the man's freaking out like, oh my god, we gotta kill her now. She doesn't have to know. Well, all the kids from that party come out behind her. They're all holding sticks of dynamite and matches. So the little ghost boy, the man, and the kidnapped girl start freaking out. The woman drops the dead body, and she lights a stick of dynamite of her own, throws it at him. All the kids follow along. And so the man, he gets it. And the girl, one of the kids untie her, but not before that kid from the party gets hit with the stick of dynamite. So the ghost boy, he just runs through the fence, keeps running, his eyes wide, clutching the knife in his trembling hands. Well, the girl that was tied up, she runs, she jumps the fence. One of the kids from the party followed her, a different one. And while this house is going up in flames, they run. That gas station nearby, they make it just to the driveway. And the little boy with the knife is like, stop, I did nothing, I did nothing, I did nothing. Why are you doing this? I did nothing. And the little girl's like, well, you did this to me. You made me eat someone's arms. And then the kid that followed her from the party felt bad. He's like, oh my god, I can't even imagine that. And so he's taking the little girl's side, and he's like, you need to leave us alone. You need to leave us alone. No, you're gonna leave us alone for good. And then these two kids brawl. By the time they finish, they both blow up. The girl's watching. The girl is watching this. Because before, when they were chasing the ghost boy, the little boy had lit a stick of dynamite, shoved it in his pants or shirt, then fought the boy, and then blew up. And the people at the gas station, they're like, oh yeah, just a normal Tuesday. There's people there, they saw, but they're just like, yeah, normal Tuesday. And then I wake up, and that's the end of my dream. And I'm like, what the heck? Because the last time I had a dream that was kind of crazy, it was not this wild. So, yeah. I just wanted to share that.